Today we'll be diving in and taking a look at one of the most successful FPS game series released to date. Can that success continue for Ubisoft with its 6th game set to hit shelves in a hot minute? We look at new characters, gameplay, and maps that'll be sure to get any fan excited. Far Cry 6 is almost here, but is it worth playing? Where it all began. Far Cry is a series of first-person shooter games developed by Ubisoft. Crytek's debut game Far Cry was published in March 2004 as a showcase for their CryEngine software. Following that, Ubisoft acquired the franchise's rights, and the majority of the development is being handled by Ubisoft Montreal, with help from other Ubisoft satellite teams. The Dunia engine, a Ubisoft-modified version of the CryEngine, was utilized in the series' subsequent titles, allowing for open-world gameplay. The series has 5 core games and 3 independent expansions. The first game, which was originally designed for Microsoft Windows, has been ported to a variety of video game consoles. The Far Cry games have a theme of placing the player in a wilderness area where they must help battle against one or more despots that govern the region, as well as survive against wild creatures that inhabit the wide expanses. Due to the history of their creation, the Far Cry games include a strong single-player campaign with subsequent additions adding the capability for cooperative campaigns. The games also have competitive multiplayer modes, as well as the opportunity to customize the maps for these matches. Despite conflicting reviews, the Far Cry games have usually been highly regarded for their open-world gameplay and are considered financial successes. According to Ubisoft, the Far Cry franchise has sold over 20 million units since its inception in 2008. The development of Far Cry 6. The most recent trailers have offered fans a sneak peek at the game's features, characters, and friends, such as a rooster. Ubisoft has a lot of projects in the works right now, so having the studios collaborate to create the greatest result makes sense. Eduardo Weisman, the audio director for Far Cry 6, recently revealed that 10 Ubisoft companies, not only Ubisoft Toronto, were collaborating to bring Far Cry 6 to gamers. Ubisoft Toronto has been the go-to name for the project since it was announced in July 2020. Far Cry 6 has piqued the interest of fans of the franchise as well as fans of Giancarlo Esposito since its announcement. This first-person shooter takes place at Yara, a fictitious Caribbean island. Danny Rojas, the player-controlled character, is a guerrilla warrior attempting to overthrow the island tyrant El Presidente. The gameplay is similar to previous games in that players will construct vehicles and weapons via crafting. Other well-known titles developed by Ubisoft Toronto include For Honor, Watch Dogs 2, Far Cry 5, and Assassin's Creed Unity. Because Far Cry is such a big-budget and well-loved fan franchise, it's not surprising that many studios are working on it. Eduardo Weisman verified this on Twitter via Gaming Bolt. Ubisoft Montreal, Ubisoft Odessa, Ubisoft Berlin, Ubisoft Shanghai, Ubisoft Kyiv, Ubisoft Philippines, Ubisoft Bucharest, Ubisoft Pune, Ubisoft Winnipeg, Ubisoft Montpellier, and Ubisoft Quebec are among the other Ubisoft studios working on the project. Some of the studios, such as Ubisoft Odessa, Ubisoft Berlin, and Ubisoft Pune, are new to the company and not well known to the public, while others have contributed to the development of fan-favorite titles and franchises for many years. The fact that Far Cry 6 is being developed by 10 studios demonstrates 2 essential characteristics of Ubisoft's current work culture. The first is that Ubisoft is dedicated to making this game better. The burden may be spread out by having 10 studios work on a single game. The second point to consider is that involving a worldwide studio will also certainly result in the incorporation of global viewpoints. The collaboration will automatically develop as a result of various studios working together. The global views will be considered intrinsically. This doesn't guarantee a flawless game, but it does offer gamers the optimism that Ubisoft is working hard to get it right. Only time will tell if this increased influence results in a better game, but Far Cry 6 should provide an experience worth playing, perhaps even devoid of the crunch that has afflicted video games for so long. Confirmed release date. The release date for Far Cry 6 is October 7th, 2021. Far Cry 6 was originally scheduled to release in February 2021, but was pushed back to Q1 2021. A lot of work has been put in by developers to keep up with the new release date. Bigger and better in every way. In the latest Far Cry 6 video teaser, a member of the development team discusses the largest Far Cry area ever and its capital city, Esperanza. While it has long been known that Far Cry 6 would take place in a huge and wide landscape, fans have yet to receive a closer look at Yara's capital, Esperanza, which is also the stronghold of the game's antagonist, Anton Castillo. Players will take control of guerrilla leader Danny Rojas on Far Cry 6, which will be released this autumn. Danny's been seen battling with Yara's revolutionary organization, the Libertad, in an attempt to overthrow Castillo's tyrannical rule over the fictitious Caribbean islands. According to the trailers, the terrible slaughter of Danny's fellow compatriots at the hands of the ruthless tyrant was most likely the catalyst. So far, it appears like the game's following the same formula as previous Far Cry games. Danny, on the other hand, will have access to a diverse range of weaponry and Supremos backpacks to add to their armory, as well as the option of bringing along one of many animal friends on their quest. And this new, hard-hitting inventory appears to be something that fans will undoubtedly want when Far Cry 6 is eventually released. Lead game designer David Grivell went into further detail on the biggest map we've ever developed for a Far Cry game, including the heavily guarded city of Esperanza. In the latest video promotion released on the Far Cry Twitter account, while the map in Far Cry 6 is an open world, the players may head directly to the capital from the start if they choose. Grivell recommends that they should make sure Danny is well armed when the time comes because it's quite tough. After all, Antoine Castillo's seat of power is in this city. In addition to Esperanza, Grivell stated that there would be intriguing places and biomes for players to visit, as well as other activities scattered across the huge universe. Hopefully the results of these efforts will be well worth the wait. Far Cry 6 appears to be colorful and chaotic adventures set in a gorgeous yet hazardous environment. Based on what's been shown so far, Yara is expected to become a place where many players will spend hours exploring in order to discover all of the island's mysteries and riches while plotting their assault on the capital. Far Cry 6 will focus more on exploration. The importance of exploring every nook of the tropical islands of Yara was addressed in an interview with Far Cry 6's world director. According to a recent interview for Far Cry 6, the game will place an even larger emphasis on exploring than past installments in the open-world FPS genre. Far Cry 6 is set on the fictional Caribbean island of Yara, where players will take control of guerrilla Danny Rojas on a mission to overthrow brutal Far Cry 6 villain Antoine Castillo's tyranny. In the months leading up to its October release, Far Cry 6 has already given out a lot of information. Most notably, there was considerable ambiguity over the game's political aim, with Ubisoft appearing to be undecided about whether the game was attempting to make any statements about real-world locations and conflicts. Since announcing that Far Cry 6 will make no political remarks about Cuba in particular, the developer has revealed more about the game's gorgeous but problematic island setting. Far Cry 6's map will be massive, but in a recent interview with game creator, Far Cry 6 world director Ben Hall revealed even more about the nature of exploration in Yara and its role in the game. Ubisoft learned that guerrillas need to use everything that they have around them and use them to be the best to their advantage. While investigating real-world guerrilla warfare, according to Hall, this will be incorporated and captured in the moment-to-moment gameplay of Far Cry 6. Players will be able to navigate the open world and find fascinating stuff, find knowledge, and really scout the world out there for themselves while they're exploring. According to Hall, implying that resource management would be more important in this game than in past Far Cry games. Yara has a lot of mysteries and possibilities for discovery, but it's unclear how rich and immersive they are. Crafting and the necessity to acquire and purchase ammo and other goods from across the globe have been features of previous Far Cry games, but Ubisoft hint that exploration would play an even bigger role in Far Cry 6. Might be just what survival-minded fans have been waiting for. Conclusion. So it seems the latest installment of the Far Cry series is going to be something worth waiting for. The developers have made sure this new addition to the series, dubbed Far Cry 6, will be sure to blow the last 5 out of the water. Obviously, technology develops over time, so more tech can be poured into these games as we progress. But the attention to detail Ubisoft has put into the latest installment is nothing short of impressive. With the release date coming up fast, Far Cry fans are sure to be satisfied. Very, very satisfied. As always, thanks for watching.